So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Jesus Christ, Not Another Fucking Podcast. This is a brainchild of myself and my dear friend Rob Scarpa. We both live in Huntington on Long Island. And this actually came at the suggestion of one of my dear friends who's a celebrity in Hollywood. He's been in over 80 movies, he's been on television series for 7 years here and 10 years there. And he started a podcast. And it was suggested by our friends in the spiritual realm that I do this. And I said, what do you think would be a great name for a podcast? And he goes, Jesus Christ, Not Another Podcast. And I'm like, oh, I love that. And then the voice that I heard said, Jesus Christ, Not Another Fucking Podcast. And I thought, why not? You know, we're going to be as irreverent as we possibly can be. So my name is Reverend Lynn LaBorde Eastman. I'm a full body trance channel. I'm a psychic and a medium. And my dear friend, Rob Scarpa, is also a phenomenal psychic and a medium. And he does his channeling through writing, and I do mine through bringing beings actually into my body and letting them speak through me. And Rob and I met here in my home back in 2017 when he burst in the door into the Soma Life Sanctuary and was just larger than life. And I thought, oh my God, I love this person. This person is a part of my soul forever. And then through our journey through the Akashic Records, we found out that we were actually relatives. We went to the graveyard where we were buried from several lifetimes ago. That was a trip and a half. But we've both studied a lot, learned a lot, channeled a lot. And we're going to bring you the best versions of ourselves that we possibly can through this journey. So Rob brought through a couple messages recently, and I'm going to ask him to start with one, and then we'll end with one. So do you want to bring forth the one from Yeshua to kind of
no, actually the one from Saint Germain is the one that's going to start this off.
Okay, beautiful.
As Lynn said, hi, I'm Rob, and like Lynn said, I'm a medium. My primary method of receiving information is via automatic writing. Go into my meditation, ask the questions, and the information starts to flow. This morning, I wasn't really sure who was going to dial up, but I knew somebody was going to have some messages or some words for us for the kickoff of our new venture here on Wednesday nights. And I decided to talk to Saint Germain. But I haven't spoken to him in a few weeks. So do
you want to explain who Saint Germain is and kind of his important humanity?
Saint Germain is referred to as the Chohan of the Violet Ray. He is
Chohan, basically a guardian.
A guardian of the Violet Ray. And he is part of the posse or the head of the Great White Brotherhood, which is what they're referred to as, or the Brotherhood and Sisterhood of Man. And it includes Master Hilarion and Sananda and Sister Nada and Kathumi and El Moria and a few more. There's quite a few in there, right? And they're the ambassadors of the Aquarian Age. We had the Piscean era and Jesus and his posse. And now we have Saint Germain and his posse. And I believe the energies are the same, just the names are different. And probably the costumes.
The names protect the innocent, right?
Right. They're all changed. And Saint Germain is, like I said, the representative of the age of Aquarius. And there's a lot. If you type in anything and do any simple searches, a phenomenal amount of information comes up on Saint Germain. And a lot of people align him with Mount Shasta and the goings on, the inner earth beings in Mount Shasta. So that's where it'll take you if you go into some search, and most searches with him. So this morning I said, Saint Germain, do you have a message for the collective? I said, greetings, brother, and thank you for the call. First, let me say how delighted I am that you and Sister Lynn are joining forces once more to extend and promote knowledge on a scale not often reached in this, your physical 3D world. It is a wonderful thing to be able to understand and to be able to teach the lessons learned by both of you on your journey back to realization. There are many tools and techniques available to all who choose, and inquiry is the switch needed to begin the whole process of introspection. So, as a reminder to all, this journey of reawakening requires but one thing, and that is silence. Silence of the mind, body, spirit complex will provide the answers to all you seek, which in turn will garner relief from the daily stresses of life and form. Each time one delves into the silence, the doors swing wide open to reveal all, mind you, in small bites. Your higher self is always there to control the flow so as not to blow a fuse or overload the emotional circuitry. Balance is always maintained when entering that space of silence, which again provides peace of mind and fresh perspective in most cases. So, as is often said by you, inquiry is the switch and silence is the key. And as you employ that process, expect results. Expect answers for what you are seeking, and do not be concerned about the length or time of any meditation, for it is not a competition or requirement that vast amounts of time be used. It is simply a matter of connecting up to your higher self to begin the process, which only takes a split second. When in that place of peace, you will know when you have hit the mark, as you will feel a love wash upon your body, in which emotions may start to flow, and the peace will befall you. Once in that state of balance, energies will flow through you and to you, automatically beginning the reset of your DNA and activating the inherent healing powers of the human body, in conjunction with the spirit body, to restore and rejuvenate the vessel and the energetic or auric field around you. Yes, the distortions of life in form on Earth can disrupt the natural flow of energies or chi, and this can cause great distress or imbalance to the body, mind, spirit complex. So it is most effective and highly recommended to restore as often as possible balance through peace and introspection. I would be remiss if I was to forget to mention the use and efficacy of the violet consuming flame in conjunction with all activities of life on Earth. This process of enveloping or immersing or surrounding oneself in the violet mist of transmutation is the fastest and most effective way to release all mental and emotional bonds, including memories that do not serve or put a smile on your face. Each time one envisions or applies the violet to any memory or circumstance, a release of energy is made, thus mitigating any power put into that experience that is less than loving to oneself or to others, thus removing that baggage from the mind of the Akash and transmuting all energies utilized in its creation. Each time one utilizes the technique of transmutation, energies are then freed up and made available once more for creation. Whether good or bad, it is still your choice, as free will is still the base of operation on the earth plane at this time. So in closing, there is no need to carry, suppress, or block any memories, experiences, or relationships that make one feel less than, and simply apply violet to all that does not resonate with your desire to expand. So let your inner voice and higher self assist in the identification and transmutation of all that is still weighing you down and letting you fly once more, for you are all angels just here to have fun. I am your Saint Germain, and I delight in our interactions this day. Farewell and so long. Bless you.
Thank you so much.
There was
So,
a lot
Rob,
packed in that. There was a lot in there.
yeah, for the audience, would you please explain to people the experience of what it's like when you receive a transmission like that?
Well, it starts off with the word introspection, also known meditation. For Lynn, for myself, for anyone who's a channel, or anyone who just even journals, you're finding that place of balance, peace, where then you can connect to the higher energies or channels, higher frequencies of the angelics, ascendeds, galactics, however you want to refer to them, or all of them. For me, it's a simple meditation. Sometimes it can be 5 minutes, sometimes it can be a half hour. It all depends on where I'm at, when I get up in the morning, what's on my mind, what did I go to sleep with the day before, what's ahead of me today. So when there's mornings when there's very little on your mind and you wake up and you're like, okay, didn't turn the TV on, didn't do anything, dogs didn't bark. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 4 minutes. It's just a matter of finding that place, that balance. And like is mentioned in the message, it's like a love wash. When you feel, when you know you're connected, or how you know you're connected, you feel an energy of love come over you, almost like you want to cry. For me, it's very emotional. I feel this, like I feel somebody that I know or that I love, and all of a sudden I say, okay, I'm connected, I'm there, I'm in. And then that's it. Then I ask the question, inquiry, and then I just listen, the silence, and I listen, and the words will start to flow. If I don't write, the words stop. As long as I keep putting the words on the page, they continue to flow. If I miss a word, I can ask them to repeat it, whoever it is, whoever that being is. Normally they introduce themselves. If I miss the word, besides asking them to repeat it, I could say it louder if it starts to fade off. And this goes for any channel. Say it again, say it louder, repeat it again, say it to me differently, give me a different word, because sometimes it gets lost in translation, but most times spirit will give it to you in your vernacular and within the words that you normally use in your daily life. They don't give you much in the scientific jargon, or it's what you can handle. It's how you operate. I mean, Lynn,
what you explained to me is that they come in and they use our databases of wisdom, knowledge, basically our Akashic records of all of our lifetimes. And they're not going to use words that we don't know. They're not going to use words that they're not going to use associations that aren't somewhere in our database, so to speak. And I've just been blown away. How many people, how many ascended masters would you say? I know you've been doing this for 5.5 years now, because you started what, January 2019?
Yeah, 2019. After I signed up for one of your classes.
The channeling class training.
Yeah.
So would you say there's been like 50 or more?
Yeah, it's always growing. It's always growing.
It's always fun to get a new one, right?
And yeah, and besides the energetics that we're receiving and those messengers, I've got people knocking on my door while I'm sleeping, and I'm hearing names of people that I've seen their name on Facebook, or they're a friend that I don't really know, but it's not anyone I interact with, and there are people coming to me to give me for me to write down messages to give to them, complete strangers. So it's there, it's happening. I mean, they tell me it's happening to everybody. So I'm glad I'm not alone in this. In the beginning, they told me I was a universal channel, because so many different beings were showing up. And then I realized, because I left the door open, if I ask specifically for an individual, most times that energy will show up. If I just kind of leave the door open and say, who has a message for me today, I never know who's going to step in. And but it's always love and light. It's always of the highest and best for everyone. Sometimes the messages are personal, other times they are for the entire collective.
Right. Sorry, I had an alarm go off.
That's okay.
So I just want to talk briefly about the beginning of the journey for me, which happened when I was really young. I was 11 years old. I lived down the street on Oakwood Road, and my mom had a friend named Kathleen Unger. And Kathleen's daughter, Allison, was best friends with my little sister, Pam. And Kathleen Unger, Mrs. Unger, she was out there. Like, she was into meditation and all these things. And she would give my mother these books. And she would give my mother books like Seth Speaks, or Chariots of the Gods by Eric von Daykin, or one book that she gave that really, really touched my life was about Edgar Cayce. And it was talking about him being the sleeping prophet, and how he would go into trance and he would access something called the Akashic Records. And at 11 years old, that just rang a bell inside of me that, you couldn't unring. It just, it evoked something so primal inside of me. And I was like, oh my God, the Akashic Records. So I went looking, and the only other books that were out there were things like Shirley MacLaine, Don't Fall Off the Mountain. And she looked like she was kooky with all the things she was talking about, but somehow I knew it was truth. And I formally started my training. I didn't realize it at the time, but in 1989, I started my training with an organization that helped to open up what I call the clairs, all my psychic abilities, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, and claircognizance. And people have all of these. They're literally like gifts from God. They're like this little baggie of gifts that God gives us for us to be able to navigate the journey as a spiritual being within a physical body. It's why we have this gut instinct where we know that we should or shouldn't do something. Yes or no. It's how we hear these voices. It's how we can feel the presence of spirit when they're in the room. For me, I get goosebumps, or sometimes I'll start to cry when the truth is being spoken, or I'll have other affectations. The hair on my head will start to tingle. You just know that spirit is present. There's something beyond the physical body. And that's really what we're here to talk about, to introduce everybody to some new ideas and to a version of Jesus. Jesus came to me when I was very, very young. He came to me in my early 20s. I was reading a book called Three Magic Words, and the three magic words are, I am God. And I was doing this meditation, and I kept saying, who am I? Who am I? And I heard this voice, and he said, I am. And it scared the crap out of me. And I was like, I'm not reading that book anymore. But then he started to talk to me. And my favorite story is that very early, I think I was 24 years old. It was a Friday night, and I was dressed in a black dress with black stockings and black heels because I knew I was going out dancing that night. And I heard this voice that said to me twice, bring an extra pair of stockings to work. And I was like, what? I'm not doing that. Because I didn't have any more black stockings and I wanted everything to match, to be all matchy-matchy. Said, bring an extra pair of stockings. By the third time the voice said, bring an extra pair of stockings, I thought, I need to listen to this. I shoved it in my purse, went to work. Girlfriend calls me and she's like, hey, you want to go to the Rusty Pelican for lunch? It was Friday. It was clam chowder day in a bowl of bread. I was very excited. We went and had lunch. Everything was nautical themed. The chairs were wooden. At the end of the meal, when I went to get up, my stocking caught on the chair and it completely ran. And I was like, are you kidding me? And this voice said to me, aren't you glad you listened to me? And I was like, who are you? I had no idea that it was Jesus, or Yeshua ben Joseph, as he was known when he walked. But it started this correspondence with us over the years. It has grown and grown and grown. And I just want you to know that the relationship that I have with him, he's not the Jesus from the Bible. There's a lot that's attributed to him that he actually didn't say. It's not the Jesus that are, that's talked about in the Catholic Church. It's not what Catholicism has turned into. It's a being that said, I come with a message to let you know that you are God and I am God and you are as I am. And it ruffles feathers when I talk about this, but that's just the relationship that I have with him. And I've been very blessed along the way. I've come together a bunch of friends who are of like mind, who are interested rather than being judgmental, that we're curious. So we are the curious beings. And Rob is one of the most curious. And I'm just, for years, I've just watched him. Rob, you've got to have over 1,000 channelings by now, right?
Yeah.
And they keep saying,
I would say probably close to about 14 to 1,500 now.
Lord, what do they keep saying to you?
I'm sorry?
What do they keep saying to you?
What are they about oneness?
No. They keep saying, write that book.
Oh yeah, that's I am. Every time I write a message, I'm writing the book. It's just they're not getting compiled in the right pile. That's all. But they're getting there.
They're stunning. They're absolutely stunning. So I have channeled about 25 ascended masters, and I channeled a being yesterday that we like to call the being of contrast. He's an archangel, and it was pretty profound, pretty extraordinary. But just what I think the message that we want to relay to all of you from us is that everybody has the ability to do this. Everybody is a channel. Everybody is a spiritual being. And whether you're have the genius of Rob with his 1,500 scribings, where he does it through automatic writing, or whether I have thousands of videos up on YouTube of me bringing forth, 25, now on my way to 30 different ascended masters, and they come through and each one has a different personality and each one has a different voice, but they're here with messages of love, and sometimes there's this one being that I channel. Her name is Hathor, and she's like, okay, everybody knock it off. She takes no prisoners, man. She just comes in and she's like, listen, everybody, it's time for you to remember who you are. I find it fascinating. I'm always fascinated by who comes forth, how the voices are different, the messages of love that they have. I'm an unconscious trance channel, so I don't remember what is being said. People will say, "Oh, remember when you said this, this, and this?" I have to go back and watch the videos. Rob, do you remember everything that comes through when you write it, or do you have to go
Oh
back and
no, I remember very little of it. I'm lucky if I remember who gave it to me. I have to go back and visit it an hour or two later, and then I'll remember it. But right after it happens, even if I read the whole message to make sure it's complete before I, start my day, no, it's gone. It's gone later. I have to revisit. It's very rare that I remember.
exactly?
And with all of these entities, energies, galactics, energetics, whatever that come in, there's no limit for any of us. It's just simply what channel, what frequency, what layer. It's like in the beginning of the spiritual journey, you hear the term, it's like peeling back the onion, peeling back the onion. And think of it in today's message from Lady Nada, Sister Nada, that Lynn channeled earlier today. She used the metaphor of, think of the earth as an onion, and as you continue to peel away the layers, your different frequencies, different entities, different energies are within each layer. And when I envision that metaphor of the earth and peeling it away, it made a lot of sense, because there's so much history on our planet that is just being revealed layer by layer by layer. And some of them are completely independent of each other, but we have yet to differentiate. Right now, everything looks like just one big trail, and it's not. It's layer upon layer, experience, groups, entities, starting with the dinosaurs were here, and then this group and that group, and and on it goes. But and there's the bottom line is there's no limit as to which channel you can go to, what level, and who you can speak with.
And they want to talk to us. They are great. They are so grateful that we remember them, that that we welcome them, that we bring their messages through. They're just delighted. By the way, I've recently, on a scale of 1 to 10, my clairvoyance was at about a 7, because I didn't want to see them. But when I woke up this morning, there were 3 men and a woman in my bedroom, standing at my bed, and I was like, oh. I quickly closed my eyes. I opened my eyes and they disappeared. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting to be able to see them. I can see them like through my third eye, and I can see them if I close my eyes, but to wake up and have them standing in my bedroom. And one of my girlfriends like, oh, they're still up there. And I'm like, I know they are. And I'll talk to them later. But even for me, with all that I've done, sometimes it gets a little freaky.
For me, it's been out of the corners of my eye. This has been going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing things out of the corners of my eyes, images, beings, what have you. So I had the opportunity a few days ago to ask a channel, Sarah. I was with Sarah Curley, another phenomenal channel friend of ours.
I definitely want to have visit us.
She was bringing in an energetic. I'm not really sure which one. She brings in Jesus and Amana and Mary. Again, a whole list for Sarah. And I asked, what am I seeing? Why am I always seeing these images out of the corner of my eye? And Spirit said through Sarah, those are the beings you're channeling, because you're always bringing them in. They are right with you. And the more you align with them, the more you will be able to visualize them. So Lynn, you're seeing them as you wake up in the morning. I'm seeing them in my daily goings on when I'm relaxed and there's not a lot of people around me. I'm always looking behind me, so to speak. You might think I'm getting a little paranoid, but no, that's not it. It's just I see stuff that I didn't used to see. And that's just what happens in this journey, for all of us involved. And for me specifically, as I would go down different roads and listen to different channels besides Lynn and Sarah and the people that I know, you go on YouTube and you pick someone and you learn about Ra and the Ra Collective, or Bashar and the Bashar Collective. For me, when I delve into those, and I'll listen for a few hours or a few days to a group of messages or an audiobook, so to speak, of a Ra or Bashar or any other. And before you know it, that energy is there at the door in the morning when I'm ready to meditate. I'll meditate and I'll say, okay, who has a message? And all of a sudden, either they'll announce themselves or the words will just start to flow. And then I'll recognize the cadence or the tone or the way they're, if they're joking, and how they do it. And I'll say, well, wait a second, that sounds like this one or that one or the other one. And you just never know who's going to show up. And and the same as with people. If you focus on a past loved one, a grandmother, grandfather, whoever it is, father, friend, the more you think about them, the more you attract them to your energy. Okay. So what you focus on, you attract. So in saying, I'm reading about the Ra Collective, right, through Kaya, a book that Lynn had recommended. And all of a sudden the Ra Collective came in and everything came in the same cadence. I am Ra. And always it started with, I am Ra, just like some other people channel. And I received it the same way. So it's very interesting. It's a lot of fun. And I want you all to keep doing it. It only gets better. And besides these galactic energies, when you have issues in your own life, whether it be medical, for yourself or for a loved one or for a friend. For me, I dial up Master Hilarion, the great healer. And I'll Hilarion for a message. And I got to tell you, he's like 10 for 10. And I'll give those messages to people and they might poo-poo them and they might say, yeah. But shortly thereafter, they come back and say, they were right. And it doesn't just go for people, it goes for animals as well. My wife runs an animal shelter and there'll be animals that come in and we don't know what's wrong with them and they'll try everything. And sometimes I'll happen to, I'll visit and I'll see the animal and I'll ask spirit, what's wrong with it? And I've gotten some pretty profound answers and recommendations for treatment that when applied have definitely helped these animals, or at least helped to put them at ease until, their time was up.
That's beautiful.
So, and asking your higher self, specifically, if you have an issue with a loved one, a job, a situation, tomorrow you're going to run it, you have to go and deal with somebody you can't stand. What's the best way to do it? And ask your higher self. And it's amazing, the insight, and they know what's going to happen already based on how you're going to comport yourself. So they always give you the best advice. And the key is to take it. Right, Lynn? Always take it. Bring those extra stockings.
The work is when I haven't listened to the messages. Hey, Rob, would you tell everybody the nickname that you have for your higher self?
Oh, when I dial up my higher self, it's simply Selfie. Dear Selfie, tell me what I need to know, or if it's specific about a certain situation, and Selfie always comes through.
A lot of us in a community that dealt with A Course in Miracles. And in the very, very beginning, which we found out years later, when Jesus first came to Helen, he said to her, every morning, ask me, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? With whom would you have me do it? Anytime you need something, ask me. And the Holy Spirit holds the same role. The Holy Spirit, the higher self, the inner being, the other self. Right now, there's a bunch of us that are doing a book club. We're going through Outwitting the Devil. And Napoleon Hill talks about 2 times in his life that literally changed his entire world when this being, this energy came into him. Thanks for being here, Carol. When this energy came into him and introduced him to the concept of an other self. There's the ego self that we're so used to. It's the one that is filled with fear. It's the one that has shame and regret and thinks about the past a lot. And then we have this other aspect of beingness. That's our higher self that lets us focus on what it is that we want to achieve, what it is that we want to have happen. And when we get in concert with that, when we start to listen to that, when we start to have a relationship with that, because it's all about relationships and about communication. Love is a function of communication is one of my favorite basic tenets in life. When we allow ourselves to have that relationship and we can listen to that guidance and we can ask for help, they are so eager to assist us. Oh my God. They ask us to ask them for help all the time because that's all they want to do. They know what our shortcuts are. They know what roads not to travel upon, what relationships not to have, what jobs not to take. And when we listen to that, life gets a lot easier. You end up with an extra pair of stockings in your purse when you tear them. Like, I'm like, how did he know that was happening? Of course he knew. He's Jesus. And he's willing to help us with little mundane things like that. Rob, who is your favorite being to channel?
Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I said not to make the others jealous.
No, yeah, I don't know if there's a favorite. Some
Are there some that are easier for you than others?
yeah, some come in a lot easier than others. What's interesting is in the beginning of this journey, before I was actually doing my own channeling, I was listening to other people channel, and there's a man that I really respect, and his name is Lee Carroll, and he's been doing this for over 35 years. He's, one of the first guys to just put it all out there. And he channels an energy called Cryon or Carry On. And many people channel this energy. And it's a beautiful energy. It's referred to as the magnetic master, or he's here to help us move through this shift or this transition or this change of seasons. And he started coming through early on, maybe because, like I said, I was listening to a lot of the messages that were being channeled. So I was easily aligned to that energy. From there, his guests and his groups brought in a woman named Marilyn Harper, who brings in the energy of Alcazar. And then Alcazar started to come to me. And then, Adironda. Marilyn Harper's Adironda. And then a gentleman named Prageet Harris and Alcazar. And they're based in Mount Shasta, all part of the Great White Brotherhood, I believe, because there's no definitive lines. And then he comes through, and there's prolific messages from that group, the Alcazar group, the Cryon group, it doesn't stop. Like I said, this Bashar stuff showed up, and I've listened to Daryl Anka, but I never, I wasn't a big fan. It's all beautiful stuff. But then all of a sudden, it just, excuse me, my computer's doing things it's not supposed to.
I know.
Like I said, you just don't know. We just don't know. And it's all good. I have no favorite. I don't think I can say there's a favorite, except my parents. My mom comes in a lot. My dad. They give me a lot of guidance.
I love that. I just heard it was a computer. There's actually there's a being that's coming forth. Interesting. Not
sure I understand.
This thing is talking to me. I don't know why.
I have to call Alexa rather than possibly invoke her name, because she's like off to the races.
Oh, I don't use that. I don't use that at all. I have that turned off, so I don't know why. Something I said. Something I said. I never use that stuff.
They wanted me to talk about frequency, because what Saint Germain does when people invoke the violet flame, when they imagine violet coming and surrounding them, surrounding a situation, surrounding their environment, they are shifting the frequency. We all exist at different frequencies. We all exist as different colors. We all have individual fingerprints. But together we are this orchestra. We are this incredible harmonization of the universe. And everyone has a different note or a different frequency that they cast. And when we evoke the violet flame, when we envision and imagine ourselves bathed in gold or in white or in violet or yellow, pink, blue, green, whatever your color is, you shift yourself to that frequency. And why they want us to get silent is because usually the mind is in beta, and it's just like, nah, 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 nah. The person you're having the fight with, the thing that the neighbor did, the thing that your kid was supposed to do, the wife, the husband, the mother, the father, the son, the daughter, the brother, the sister, the stupid employee, the stupid boss, the, whatever. That constant conversation happens at a frequency called beta, and it cuts us off from being able to access and connect to spirit. So they ask us to slow down and go to alpha, and to slow down even more and go to theta. And in theta, you're in the realm of pure imagination. And this is the frequency, this is the quantum realm, where everything that you ask for is delivered to you, and you just have to be willing to receive it. We will everything. We were given free will. We will things into existence. So that's why they were saying the silence is so important, because in that silence, you shift your frequency and you slow down, and then we can hear them. Prayer is us talking to God, meditation is God talking to us. In that silence is when we allow ourselves to receive what it is that we've asked for. Huh. Love it.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Saint Germain, for that insight. There's one thing I would like to add that wasn't in the message, and it didn't come through Lynn just now. Inquiry is the switch, silence is the key, and breath. Without the breath, nothing happens. If you hold your breath, you're holding the pause button. That's how it works. When you hold your breath, you can't think when you're holding your breath. You can't do anything when you're holding your breath. It's the pause button. So you have to continue to breathe. And when you get to the bottom of that breath and you take that pause before you start the next inhale, it's like it enhances it. It speeds up and it increases the connection. So the breath is the most important aspect of this, along with silence and the question. And for some reason, I guess once you start to get into it, you realize it. But in the beginning, when I was trying to meditate and learn all these things, I wasn't breathing. And once I got the breathing part to just happen effortlessly and not think about it consciously. Some people say, oh, count to 10, count to 4. Everybody's got a different rule in the beginning when you start to meditate. And really it is what is most natural to you. Everybody's lungs are different. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's a different elevation. Everybody's going to breathe at a different rate. Just do what makes you smile. Don't worry about the timing, the cadence. You know, some people say, oh, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, put the tongue to the left, put the tongue to... It doesn't matter. Just keep the air flowing. Just keep the air flowing, and everything else will continue to work. It's that simple.
Jesus said to me, we can live without water, we can live without food, but we cannot live without breath. Breath, life force, prana, chi, ki is literally how we stay connected to God. So if you take the frequency of fear and if you take the frequency of excitement, the only thing that's different between the two of them is with fear, we stopped breathing. So when you bring breath to any emotion that's trapped within you, it starts to melt it and lets it go and lets it flow. It's so important. I love that you said that. I've done 2 different 200-hour yoga teacher trainings. And the most important thing that I got, besides learning a lot of poses and getting my body really fit at the time, was the breath. It is the most important thing. The most important thing that we can do. So Rob, say the 3 of them again.
Inquiry is the switch. Silence is the key. Breath is what keeps it all moving. I don't know. There's no other term for that, but the breath is what keeps the information flowing, keeps the wheel turning. Another little thing in the morning prior to my meditation, most days, I'll either use some spray or an essential oil, or I'll light some incense. You know, and if you've been in a group or meditation in a setting, you know, you'll know that you probably experience that really helps you to relax a little bit. Maybe frankincense or whatever the scent is, lavender. Use a little of that. Spray something. Sometimes I'll take the gong or the bell, you know, the little singing bowl, and I'll just ring it 3 times just to kind of set the energy. Just bring that in. It's always different every day. I'll hold a piece of selenite, you know, ground with that. I'll hold some crystals, and depending on which one I'm in the mood for, you know, I'll hold on to that, not necessarily channeling the crystal, but there's frequency in everything. So you'll find the one, and it's different every day. You just, like I said, it's easy to come up with a routine that works for you, and then expand out from there and try different things each day, bring in different entities. And water, another big important thing. You get up in the morning. I mean, I'm not one to drink a lot of water, so I have a habit. I have to leave, you know, bottles of water in the room that I go to meditate, so that they're there at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I don't want to walk through the whole house and make a lot of noise. And sometimes I'll sit there and like nothing's happening, nothing's working, and I'll realize I hadn't consumed any water. And once you start to drink water, it's almost like it's like oil in an engine, and it just starts to move the energy around. So if you feel like you're not hearing anything or not receiving anything, drink some water. I know it works for me. And
I
yeah,
love that.
5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, sometimes you forget all those things. You're like, what's going on? Why is nobody there? And then all of a sudden, you relax and breathe a little bit, everything starts to flow. But there's no limit. There's just no limit to the questions we can ask. I participate in a lot of weekly meditation groups where our friends bring in all different energies, entities, teachers, Jesus, Mary Magdalene. It's all, I can't get enough of it. I love the energy, but I'm the biggest inquirer in all the groups. I always ask more questions than anybody, because when the energies are here, they're here to provide. They want us to ask questions. So anything that you can think of course, in a group, you don't want to ask, your personal stuff, but as a whole, for the collective, you can ask questions that then lead to other questions from other people in that circle. And before you know it, you've gotten answers to things that you never even expected. And you've opened the door to new thought streams and, realities, different levels. There's so much.
So
I mean,
this is the perfect layup, because I'm actually going to bring Jesus in. I'm going to channel him, and I'm going to let you guys do a Q&A. So you guys can ask questions, and then we'll wrap up with your last channeling.
okay.
So if anybody would like to ask a question, I'm going to go into trance. I'm going to bring him through. And Rob, if you could have people raise their hands and then choose them, and they can unmute, and
Okay.
I'll go ahead and bring him through. So give me a minute. I'm going to call him forth. So I go through this process where I invoke him to come into my body. So I'm going to tell you this one really cool thing that happened with him. We were at a hospital with my mom last year. We were in the emergency room for like 5 hours, and we were sitting next to this lovely woman, and her mom was in the emergency room, and her mom was sitting in a wheelchair, and she looked like a very elegant woman. She spoke Polish. They were speaking, the mom spoke broken English and Polish. And at one point, Jesus comes to me and he says, okay, bring me in. We're going to lay hands on that woman. And I was like, no fucking way. I'm not doing that. I'm sitting in a hospital. If somebody sees me do that, like, this is not happening. I'm not doing that. And he goes, okay. And I'm like, oh God, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. And he comes back and he goes, okay. So ask the daughter if the mother will let. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm in the hospital. My mother's here. She already thinks I'm crazy. He's like, it's going to be okay. I'm like, all right. So I turn to the daughter and I go, listen, I do this healing. I call it Reiki, like my code word is Reiki, where I lay hands on people, and I'm feeling really drawn to work with your mom. Will you ask her if it's okay? So she goes over, speaks to her mom in Polish. The mother looks at me and she wags me over with her finger. So I go over to this woman who's sitting in a wheelchair. I invite Jesus in. He comes into my body. He tells me, put a hand on her left shoulder. I have no idea what she's in for. Put a hand on her left shoulder, put the right hand on her head. And this is how he like syncs us to her. And then I literally feel him go in and he pulls what's ever in her shoulder out of her. He pulls it through my body and then he leaves. And I know that he's gone. And he says, he says, ask her to move her left shoulder. So I pull my hands off of her and I look down at her and I say, move your left shoulder. And she moves her left shoulder and she looks up at me and she says, I knew you had the gift. I haven't been able to move that shoulder for 4 months. I go and sit down. My mother's crying. The daughter's crying. My mother's like, you really are channeling Jesus. And now she like tells everybody, my daughter channels Jesus. My daughter is a healer. My daughter has a gift. And I'm like, all right, mom. Like, these are people in the supermarket. I'm like, stop, like, please. But you just like, what happens in this process is I invite him in. His energy comes into me. It is like being in an altered state. I happen to yawn as this happens, as he comes in, and it happens with all of them as they come through me. So that's what you're going to see in this process of me transitioning. Here we go. Mm. Greetings, beloved. There's a creature that lives in this home who is meowing. His name is Astro, and he has just entered the room. Mm. Beloveds, it is our delight to have you here with us. We thank you for accepting our invitation. We are here to spice things up. We are here to let you know that not necessarily everything that you have been taught, not necessarily everything that you have read, not necessarily everything that you have heard has been the truth. So come, beloved ones, and ask us anything that you would like us to know, that you would like to know, and allow us to be of assistance to you, beloveds.
Anyone have any questions? Unmute you, Tracy. Hold on, Tracy. I'm trying to unmute you. Don't seem to be able to have that capability here. I don't think I was given permission.
I unmuted myself, I think.
Okay.
There's so much division going on in the country and in the world. How do we stay neutral?
Beloved, when you look at the world through the mind, you will see the division. When you look at the world through the heart, you will see the connection. Neutrality happens when you allow yourself to be a heart-based being. It is easy in a world in which you have been trained to live and die by the mind, but you can begin to train yourself to let your default be that you would approach all beings through your heart. The wisdom that I grant to this beloved oracle is to look at another and to see me looking back towards her in their eyes, to look upon their heart and to feel my heart loving her. If you could take the soul that you have the greatest issues with, that you feel the most judgment towards, the hardest and heaviest grievances towards, and beloved, if you could allow yourself to look through their eyes and see me looking back at you, if you could imagine that I exist within them and you could feel my heart loving you through them, you would be neutralized immediately. You would not be able to feel anything but love for them. In fact, I would love to ask each of you to find the being that troubles you the most and allow yourself to see me through their eyes, and it will cause a change for you in your frequency within your minds, and it will start to build a pathway that will allow you to think of love first before judgment. Does this answer your question, beloved one?
Yes, thank you very much. That was beautiful.
You are beautiful.
Thank you.
That was a beautiful, beautiful answer to a beautiful question. Okay, Rory, we're going to take you next. You can unmute.
Yes. Jesus, give me a reason to continue to believe in you, even though some of the truths that I thought to be real from being taught may not.
Beloved, I do not want you to believe in me. What you have been taught is mostly lies. I want you to believe in you. I want you to find within you a reason to believe in love. I want you to look within your heart and say, I have children, I have family, I have siblings, I have a mate, I have a life that is worthy of love, that has nothing to do with the rhetoric that you were taught. It is not my book, and those are not my buildings. This is my statement of fact. I do not want you to believe in me. I want you to believe in you. And that has only ever and will continue to be my message. You are as I am, and I am as you are. So do not ask of me what I cannot give you. Do you understand, beloved?
Yes. Thank you, Jesus.
I love you. You are a gorgeous, loving, generous, beautiful being. And it is time for you to remember that. I remember who you are. I now ask you to remember who you are as well.
I will. Thank you.
I thank you.
Thank you. That was a very powerful statement, Jesus. And now we have Metiku. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, peace and love to all of you.
Welcome.
Greetings, brother.
Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. I'm so happy and joyful. Am I sending the message I send you? Are you receiving them? And
Always.
and I asked yesterday, I wrote a letter, and if you receive it, and how can I recognize or realize if the message is coming through?
Beloved, your faith is at question here. There are things that you are asking for that you think will prove something to you. I ask you to have a different measure of faith. I ask you to look within your own mind for the places where doubt still lives. There is still doubt within you, beloved. Do not look to me to be a magician for you. You are your own magician. You are about to take a journey with our beloved sister, and she will teach you many things, and you will be able to use these tools to transform your life. You have put yourself in a corner. You have painted yourself in, and there seems as if there is no way out. But beloved, we are going to ask you to look at life differently. And that journey is before you. Do you want a magic show?
I would love.
There is no magic show that comes from me. The true magic only comes from you. The concerns that you have about your child, the concerns that you have about your wife, you keep those alive by focusing upon them. This is where your faith is missing. Focus only on what it is that you want, beloved, and stop looking to the past. Stop telling the stories of what has happened to you and why it has happened to you. Let all of that go. The magic that exists within you saying, this is what I shall manifest. Everything that you believe that has been taken away from you will be returned times 10. You need not fear. Keep focusing on what you want and stop talking about anything else. Will you do that?
Yes, I do that.
Do you promise?
I promise.
You do not want to break your promise to me.
No,
Very well, brother. We shall
I
speak.
love you. I
Thank
love
you.
you.
I love you.
I guess the challenge is accepted. Okay. All right, Michelle. You gonna mute yourself, please?
Hi.
Good evening.
I guess I want to ask him, what do I need to do to get out of the slump that's been since my daughter died for 4 years? It's been like one thing after the other. I want to know how to get out of the slump and start to get where I need to be.
Beloved, you must focus upon what it is that you want. You are going through life with your hands on the rearview mirror, focused upon what happened in the past. We will offer the same suggestion to you, which is you must stop talking about what happened before, and you must focus upon how it is that you want life to be. Life happens to you according to your beliefs, and you are still grieving, beloved, and it is time to lay the body to rest, to lay the soul to rest, to stop blaming yourself, to stop grieving, and to bring yourself to the present, and then decide what it is that you want in the future, and to focus only upon that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay.
We are not usually wrong about these things, beloved.
Thank you very much.
Beloved, continue to speak with us, and we will continue to assist you in this effort. We have homework for you. Are you willing to accept?
Always.
We want you to make a list of 10 things that you want to accomplish this year. And then we want you to focus on the steps that it will take. Why do you want those things? And we will assist you in making those manifest. This we promise you.
Okay, I'll do it.
We love you.
I love you too.
Thank you. Beloveds, it is time for us to depart. We thank you. We are here for you, and we are here always. Call upon us. Blessings, greetings, and salutations, beloved ones. Until we speak again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
That was amazing. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Juicy. Babe, you're muted.
Michelle and Matiku, your questions were very similar in alignment with what Jesus answered. And that goes for all of us. It's always about focusing on what we want and not playing back the memories of the things that don't make us smile, that were not good, losses, things like that. We have to focus on forward. The more you focus on that, the more you keep those emotions spinning in your head, spinning in your heart, and lowering your vibration. So in order to raise your vibration, you have to not stop playing that song. Play a song that makes you want to dance instead of a song that makes you want to sit and cry. Okay? Very, very important. That goes for everyone.
I just need to answer Bryce because there's a message that's in here.
Yeah.
Bryce says, may I ask a question about health following world events? I don't want to spread fear or controversy after the pandemic, but the only thing I've heard repeatedly that causes distress, late messages from Jesus channelers suggesting that those who took the vaccines are irreparably damaged and are unable to recover. To what extent is this true? The virus, just one truth for those. Are there any other ways to recover from the physical body that's been damaged by the injection? So here's what I can tell you that Jesus said to me. He said to me, anyone who's telling you that you were damaged by something is living in a world of fear and illusion. You are a spiritual being and nothing about you can be damaged. At the level of the body, he said, we never said that the body is an illusion. He said, the body is real. What is an illusion is that you think that you are your body. So no one was damaged by anything. It is a game that is playing out at many, many levels. One channel had said that if you were vaccinated, you were not going to ascend. And all that we would like to say to that is what a bunch of bullshit. Not true. Sorry. Fuck you. No, not true. Anyway, okay. We're
Oh.
that's all we have to, that's why we have
This is going to be raw, uncensored. That's it.
listen, look at the title.
That's it. It's raw and uncensored. We're from New York. That's how this goes, you know. Well,
Exactly.
I've been very good. I've been keeping the curses to a minimum.
You have a proud of you. Be
This is the
What-
first episode, you know.
unfiltered, baby. Unfiltered.
It's the first episode. Once
Oh
we
my-
settle in, you know how raucous it'll get.
Exactly.
All right, we're limited for time, right? We have 1 hour and 11 minutes to go
Yeah,
total.
we got 9 minutes to go.
I got a quick message. This is a quick one that came in preparation for today's gathering as well. This actually I got it yesterday morning. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of stuff to talk about. And yesterday, I just said, "Dear Spirit, can you speak on oneness today?" And I opened the door, and like I said, you never know who's going to show up. And then I heard, "Greetings, beloved. It is I, your mother Mary,
Aw.
now, and I thank you for the inquiry.
Mm.
Dearest being of light, that is the answer, as all are simply beings of light, having the human experience. And for many and most, it occurs over and over again, all in the hopes of realization. So what that means is that all who are searching for their true origin, and of course, that is the stars. Each of you, all of you are source light. So your origin is pure. Your intent is noble, yet your actions, dictated by your experience, can sometimes be less than love. So now it is the time for the return to oneness, as all things are originated from that source point. The final caveat to discovering your true soul essence can only come through the awakening process, or, of course, transition. Thankfully, your Earth, your planet, has discovered that love energy and only wants peace. Yet for some, that is not the case, as they have built their whole experience rooted in fear and competition. But as the beautiful messenger of hope arrives, so many were unable to see the truth that there lies in distortion. Through their lies and distortion. Well, that time has arrived, and the distortion is almost all but mitigated. It is now time to unravel from the matrix and expand into the oneness that is creation. How better than to provide a most amazing experience than to enter a matrix where the constant options are endless and the fractalization occurs at an astounding rate. So this is our experience. This is our choice and our desire when returning in form. So in hindsight, it was so important to establish an end date, a completion. Excuse me, this is a rough word to read. A completion, because I didn't type this. Hence the aspect of time was, okay. We had to establish an end date, a completion, hence the aspect of time was created to limit the experience within the cycles of rotation and balance. And then, as the odds of success being so limited, it is wonderful to see all still here, still coalescing around a central theme, oneness, as this is inherent in every human being. So today, we want you to celebrate the victory of light that is upon each and every one of you as we wrap up this experience and move into a new and uncharted paradigm of peace on earth and goodwill towards all. And that includes the planet, the animals, bugs, fish, etc. All will live in oneness as always planned, without the distortions once laid upon it. So my words to you this day are, be love, emote love, and shine like never before as all things come to a close and a new choice point is revealed. choose wisely, and love completely. We are your family of angels, saints, and guides here to say we love you. Namaste. So,
Thank you all so much for being here. I
Yeah.
don't know about the, but I had a blast. I
thank
thank you, Rob. I love you dearly.
Okay, I'll post these messages once I type them out, and then
Okay.
everybody can read them. That one had a couple of stumbling
So,
blocks, like I said.
They asked us to start our own YouTube channel, so we're going to start our own YouTube channel. They asked us to start our own TikTok channel, so we'll do that as well. Everything will be posted there. And you guys, please come back. We'll be here every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And we thank you for your questions. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your love. And Rob, I just love you so much.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Love you too. This was great.
Thank
See you all next week.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
so-
you.
Namaste.
So fun.
You're
You
so
all. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Thank you.
our pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Love you
Looking-
guys.
Looking forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye, everybody.
Great. Take care,
Bye.
Tracy. Thank you, Michelle.
Bye,
You're-
Trace. Bye,
Nice
Matik.
to
Michael,
meet
thank
you,
you,
Robert.
Michael.
Bye,
Thank you.
Mike. Bye, Rory. Bye, Sandy. Bye, Tracy. Sandra.
Yeah, Christy, thank you. Sandra, yes, thank you, Sandra.
Bye,
Thank
Christy.
you.
You're so welcome.
Good.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. Cool. Matiko, thank you so much for being here. Love. We'll see you
Nice to meet
soon.
you, Matiko.
Thank you so much.
Bye, honey.
Thank you, Christy. Recording
Ask
on.
Hold on. Stop recording.